الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الغر الميامين ولعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: من كنت مولاه فعلي مولاه، اللهم والي من والاه وعاد من عاداه. أما بعد. So today will be our sixth lecture, inshallah, and we are discussing about the topic of the Imamat of Ameer al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. And we started discussing about what Imamat is, what does it mean when we say Imamat, what is the meaning of Ameer al-Mu'mineen, and then obviously we went through the concept of the Imamat in Sunni literature, and also we discussed what Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam has described the Imamat. Then we went through the logical proofs that we have of the Shia understanding of the Imamah. And finally, in the last session, we went through the Quranic understanding of the Shia concept of Imamah. And we quoted the Imamat of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam that proved three things. So all the viewers that would be starting to review the lectures from now onwards, I would highly recommend them if they can go through and if they can listen those 5 lectures too, and it will be really easy. You don't have to take separate time out. If you are going in a car, or if you are doing something in your house, and if you do have some time, you can put on those lectures, and those lectures will actually give you some hint about the stuff that we are going through, especially the last lecture in which we used the Quranic ayat to prove the Shia concept of the Imamah. Just like a recap for those people that are viewing it for the first time, the Shia concept of Imamah includes that the Imam has to be appointed in 3 ways. Imam has to be appointed through Nas, that Allah Almighty would be appointing someone as an Imam or the Caliph or the Khalifa. The second concept is that the Imam and the Khalifa has to be what? Infallible. Like that person, the Imam can never commit a simple sin to, a simple mistake to, right? An Imam and the Prophet who are infallible, they cannot commit slightest of sin. The third concept of the Imam is that Imam has to be followed without any if and buts, right? He is to be muftaradul ta'a. When you compare that with the Sunni concept of the Imamah that we have gone through, and inshallah, I will be going through a really important verses that the Sunni scholarship they quote to prove that their concept of Imamah is to be accepted. What are those verses? Inshallah, those will be coming forward. But before we go through, what is the Sunni concept of the leadership of the Khilafah, right? They believe that Imam or the Khalifa can be appointed even if one single person would appoint them. That is good enough for someone to be an Imam or a Caliph. Second is that if someone nominates another one, like Abu Bakr nominated Umar, this means this way too, Imamat and the Khilafat can be proven. Likewise, if there is a council, if there is a Shura, right? So remember this word Shura, right? The reason I'm defining you right now is that most of the time when we will be discussing today, we will be using this word too often, right? Shura, right? Shura is a council or is a committee of people where there is a group of people where there's like 5 people, 6 people, and there can be different numbers, right? 8, 9, 10, depending. When they sit together and then they come with a solution, and the way the solution is being put forward is that the majority of the opinion is being entertained. This whole process of this, the whole committee process or this council that you have is called what? Shura. So Sunni concept also includes that someone can be appointed through Shura too. Imagine if someone of Sunnis wants to make a Khalifa now, they would have like 5 or 6 or 10 people that are really knowledgeable, that are really religious, and then they would come up with one name, and that one person would be an imam and would be a caliph, and everyone within the Muslim world, they have to follow that imam. This is called what? This is called the process of shura. This is the concept of the council. Finally, the Sunni concept is also that the imam can also be through bil kahri wal ghaliba, through usurp. Like if someone is usurping the government, and if they come forcefully, then that person is also said to be an imam. Obviously, these concepts coming through force and one person appointing it, it was so ridiculous that obviously they don't have the rightful proof. As far as the direct nomination is concerned, it's just like the Shia concept, where we believe the imam is to be directly appointed by Allah or the messenger or the imam before him. So we don't have a problem, and we don't contradict each other when it comes to direct nomination. The thing that actually Sunni enforce a lot and they practice a lot and they give you a lot of proof is what? Is the council and the shura way of the imamah, right? Why? Because this is the book that I was going through. This book is called what? Al-Asalib al-Badi'a. This is from Nabhani, right? And Nabhani said that the Khilafat of Uthman. Uthman is what? The third caliph. أما خلافة عثمان رضي الله عنه فكانت أيضا عن اتفاق الصحابة، وذلك أن عمر رضي الله عنه أخرج أولاده عن الخلافة وجعل شورى بين ستة نفر. That Umar, before he left this world, what he did was that he left a council of 6 people, and he didn't include any of his progeny or any of his sons. And he asked those 6 people to decide who should be the caliph after him. And what was this council consisting about? It included Abdurrahman ibn Auf, it included Talha, it included Zubayr, it included Uthman bin Affan, it includes Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, and finally it included Amir al-Mu'mineen. But this was a pre-planned thing from Umar ibn al-Khattab, because he wanted Amir al-Mu'mineen not to become a caliph, right? Because if it would have been left upon the people, perhaps they would have selected Amir al-Mu'mineen. So he left it upon the 6 people to decide, and obviously most of the people that were in the council, they didn't like Amir al-Mu'mineen, and they never wanted Amir al-Mu'mineen to be the caliph. So ultimately, this whole process was done to make Uthman bin Affan as the caliph, the third caliph. Now, what are the proofs that the Sunnis usually use? They usually use 2 ayats of the Quran. One ayah is where it is in Surah Ali Imran, verse number 159. It says that فَبِمَا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ, that it was because of Allah's mercy that you were gentle to them. So Prophet is gentle to whom? To the companions, right? To the people, because Prophet was used to entertain them a lot and used to accommodate them a lot. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ, right? Had you been rough, hard-hearted, they would surely have scattered away from you. So this is a lesson for us too. We, the people that are doing the tabligh, we, the people that are conveying the message, we should do it in the best of the akhlaq, in the best of the etiquettes, right? We should never be what? Ghalidul qalb, hard-hearted, right? We should never be rough. We should treat people with respect and with dignity. So it further continues, the ayah further continues, فَعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ, that pardon them. And this whole ayah is under the context of Ghazwa Uhud. Ghazwa Uhud. The Ghazwa of Uhud, that was the battle in which almost all of the Muslims, they fled away. They left Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by himself. And it was only Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam that was defending Prophet at that time. And then finally, few other companions from Ansar and some other companions, they came in, and then they started defending Prophet Muhammad. But it was only Amir al-Mu'mineen at one time that was defending Prophet Muhammad, right? So then it says that, okay, for now, pardon them, pray for their forgiveness, and take counsel from them in matters of importance. What does it say? وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. and take a counsel, take their opinions in different matters, right? And then it continues, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَوَكِّلِينَ. That when you have a resolve on a course of an action, then place your trust in Allah. Surely Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. So that's the first. They say that CEO Prophet has been instructed to take shura and to take counsel in the matters. So that proves that the counseling is the method that we should move forward. Having a council, having a committee, right? The second is from Surah Shura, verse number 38, that talks about the qualities of some of the believers. وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ, who obey their Lord, وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ, and establish prayers, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَ بَيْنَهُمْ, and who conduct their affairs by consultation, right? So here too, when the qualities of the believers are mentioned, what is mentioned here? That they will be consulting each other when they have to come up with the decision. So what is our answer to this? Clearly, it says that you have to take counsel, you have to do shura when you are deciding upon the affairs, right? Our first answer is that, look, the ayah that is being quoted in Surah Al Imran, verse 159, as per the Sunni commentators, it only talks about taking the counsel in the matter of war. In matters of war, only then you are to take their consultation. Why? Because in a war, a whole army is fighting. And if only the leader implements his decision without taking the consultation from the army, then the army can feel that they are being left out. So when there is a problem, when there is an issue, and when Muslim comes to face non-Muslims in a fight, then at that matter, a leader, it is good for him to take counsel, to talk to the people about certain issues, that how would we approach the battle, what would be, how many number of peoples will be putting here and will be putting there. And this thing is not something which is wajib. Look, this is not something which is the mandatory thing that they have to do. It is something which is permissible for Prophet to do. It is permissible for him to take consultation, and it is permissible for him not to take consultation. Why? Because sometimes the consultation is taken not to extract new knowledge. Imagine Prophet, who wouldn't know, who would say the Prophet didn't know how to fight? How to fight with the people that are against the humanity. Prophet knew how to fight with the people. Of course, he had the knowledge. Sometimes you would only take the opinion of others just because you don't want them to feel out. Imagine if you know what is the right thing to do, but at the same time, you want to entertain another person too. What would you do in those matters? You would be, brother, if you can give your opinion too, just to make them feel as if they're being respected, as they are being people that are just not robots, right? They are human beings that are being well respected by Islam. So when the shura is being mentioned there, it only talks about, it is only in the context when Prophet is fighting a war. And also, it is something which is permissible. It is not something which is obligatory for Prophet to, every time he takes a decision, he consults with those people. And thirdly, which is important, and that applies to both the first and the second ayah, that the shura can only be applied to the issues where you don't have an explicit answer. What do I mean? Imagine if you are being prescribed by, or not even prescribed, if Sharia, if the fiqh has told you that you have to recite 2 units of Fajr prayers, 2 rak'at of Fajr prayers, is it allowed for you that you make a whole panel discussion and you have like 5-10 people sitting in it, and then you guys come with a decision that the Fajr prayer should not be 2 rak'at, it should be 5 rak'at? Can you do that? Even if everyone in the council say that the Fajr have to be 5 rak'ah, even at that time, you cannot pray 5. Why? Because there is a nas, there is a textual proof, there is a commandment from Prophet that the Fajr has to be 2 rak'ah. There is no if and buts. Likewise for Dhuhr. Imagine if there is a whole council sitting in and we are deciding, oh my God, at the afternoon time, it is a really busy time and we just cannot spare time to go and pray 4 rak'ah. Let's just make it 1 rak'ah. 1 rak'ah of Dhuhr prayers. Even if a whole council is sitting, is it allowed for them to come with this decision? The answer is no. Even then, they cannot come up with this decision. Why? Because there's a nas there. There is explicit textual proof that says that there is no shura to be taken. Why? Because we already have a textual proof. My answer to these people is that if you are saying that the consultation has to be taken, then can you take consultation in the matters of prayers? Can you take consultation in the matters of Hajj? Can you take consultations in the matter of Zakat? Can you take consultations in the matter of Rosa and Siyam? Can you take consultations in the matter of Jihad? Can you take consultation in matter of marriage? As if like the nikah can be done without reciting and without saying the sigha that we have to say? Can this consultation be taken into the ahkamat of talaq? And can this consultation be taken in the matters of amr bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar? That is it wajib or is it mustahab or is it makruh, is it haram? Of course not. All of these things have been decided. Would you come up with a new method of prayers or with new method of wudu that instead of washing your face, you come of wiping your face like this? Of course not. This is something which is explicit in Quran, that you have to wash your face. You have to wash your hands, right? The hands have to be washed. The face have to be washed. The head, right? It has to be wiped, right? It cannot be washed. It only has to be wiped, right? In those situations, can I have a council and can I decide what is right and what is wrong? And what should be the new way of wudu? Of course not, because I already have a textual proof, already have a nas on it. So when it talks about the shura, it only talks about the things in which we don't have a nas. It is something mubah. Imagine if I'm supposed to start a new business. This business itself is a good thing to do. It's a mustahab thing, right? But what kind of business should I do? Should I go into manufacturing industry? Should I go into a service industry? Or should I go to any other industry? Now I have a conflict of opinion among the people. At that moment, you can do shura. You can have a consultation with the people. Why? Because Islam doesn't ask you to do a specific kind of business only. Islam says business is good. These are certain kind of businesses that are haram. These are certain kind of businesses that are makruh. These are certain kind of businesses that are mustahab. Apart from it, generally, all kinds of businesses are allowed with these exceptions. Now, if I have to start a business, how would I start? I would go and talk to the people and get their consultation and start a business then. This is what Islam is asking you to do, that in those situations where you can discuss the people which are mubah to do, which are open by the Sharia, you can do and you can take consultation with the things. And that consultation is being praised in Holy Quran, right? Those kind of consultation are being praised. But those things that are being explicitly told by Allah and His Messenger, there can never be any consultation from it. And this is what the Sunni commentator, and this is Mafatihul Ghaib of Allama Fakhruddin Razi. He says, اتفقوا على أن كل ما نزل فيه وحي من عند الله لم يجوز للرسول أن يشاور فيه الأمة لأنه إذا جاء النص بطل الرأي والقياس. Such an important quote. Fakhruddin Razi says, Fakhruddin Razi, he is a huge Sunni commentator and he is a theologian too. He says that there is no difference of opinion. The scholars are unanimous about it, that when a wahi comes in, when we have explicit wahi on a certain topic, then it is not allowed for the Prophet to consult the people regarding that matter. Why? Because when wahi comes in, when nas comes in, when a textual proof comes in, then we cannot give our opinion and we cannot use qiyas, we cannot use that analogy, right? When we have wahi coming in. And likewise, in لباب التأويل في معاني التنزيل, volume number 1, page number 312, it says again, اتفق العلماء على أن كل ما نزل فيه وحي من الله عز وجل لم يجز للرسول أن يشاور فيها الأمة صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. He says the same thing too. When there is a scholar, the scholars are unanimous on this thing. When we have wahi, when we have textual proof, then there is no way that I can go and refer to the people about it. Same thing is mentioned in Bahrul Ulum, volume number 1, page 260. And in Bahrul Ulum, this tafsir, who is he quoting? He is quoting from whom? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is who? He is a really famous companion. He says that وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي بَعْضِ الْأَمْرِ. He used to say that when we say that you need to consult the people in the matters, it doesn't mean that you have to consult in everything of your life. Why? Because you can only consult them in few things. Why is it that, oh, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he says that when there is a wahi, when there is a textual proof on something, then you cannot go for consultation. So again, we are coming to this conclusion, and we have talked about it. Then when we have an explicit proof on anything, and we have proof from the intellectual proofs, from the Quranic proofs, that the imamat is something which can only be appointed by Allah. When we have these explicit proofs with us, who give us this authority that we can go and we can use our own opinion to select that who should be the caliph? Why? Because if a wahi comes in, then there is no way that we can apply the counsel. We can take a decision in council. Okay. Likewise, in Minhaj al-Sunnah by Ibn Taymiyyah, he used to hate Shias. He is the most anti-Shia scholar. He has written the same thing too, that you would not be consulting anyone when it comes to the matters of wahi. So till now, we have established this fact, and this is not an isolated opinion. It says اتفق العلماء. This is an agreed upon opinion among the scholars, among the Sunni scholarship, and likewise among the Shia scholarship. There is no difference of opinion. That when we have wahi, when we have textual proof on something, then there is no way that we would be asking the opinions of the people. Okay, and how can we prove that the imamat is something which is only comes under the authority of Allah Almighty, which is only something that Allah can appoint? We have already given you proofs, and people that are starting this lecture, or when they are new to this lecture, they can go to two previous lectures that we have spoken about, and we have given both intellectual and the Quranic proofs for the things that we are saying. But go through the history, and I'm not saying go through the history that are written by the people, by the common writers, right? I'm talking about Quran. Quran has said so many times that it is Allah who's making the caliph, right? And we gave an example of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam before. Now I would like to go to some more examples. This is from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 30, and it talks about the way Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was being made the caliph, the successor of Allah, right? Allah says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. That when Allah said to the angels that I and only I, جاعل, I'm the one that makes fil ardi, in this earth, khalifa, a successor. So who has the authority? Only Allah has the authority to make it. Likewise, we give the example of Prophet Ibrahim in the last lecture, so I don't want to repeat it, but just like a reference in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 124, when Ibrahim was being made imam by what? Inni ja'iluka linnasi imama. That, oh Ibrahim, I'm making you the leader. I'm making you the imam for the whole of humanity. And likewise, Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam in Surah Al-Sad, verse number 26. What does it say? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard. That, O Dawood, O Prophet Dawood, we, verily, only we are making you the successor on the earth. So again, Prophet Adam was made successor by Allah. Prophet Ibrahim, how he was made caliph? By Allah. Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam, how was he made caliph? How was he made successor? He was made successor by Allah's appointment. And likewise, we have a quotation, and this is from Siratul Nabawiyya from Ibn Hisham, right? It is that Prophet went to preach a message of Islam to one of the tribe. And when he was preaching the message, the tribe asked that if we follow you, and if we give our pledge of allegiance to you, right? And if Allah gives you the victory, would this amr, it's a beautiful word, al-amr, would this status of leading the humanity, of leading the whole ummah, can we get this if we follow you? So they were trying to make a deal. The deal was that we will give you our support right now, and when you actually become victorious, then it is wajib upon you to make us as the leaders, right? Then Prophet at that time replied, Al-amru ilallahi yad'uhu haythu yasha, that it is upon Allah Almighty to decide, and He is the one that will make anyone as an imam. So again, Allah Almighty is supposed to make imam, not us. We don't have the authority to make imams. Allah is the one that is supposed to make imam. And finally in Surah Al-Ahzab, and we have this verse 36, that وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَن يَكُونُوا لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. That it is not allowed for any believer man or a believer woman that when Allah and His Messenger makes a decision for them, that they have any saying in it, right? So again, just wrapping up this lecture and discussing it again, inshallah, giving you the headlines again that we discussed, that the Shia concept of Imamat includes making the Imam either through textual proof, either through he has to be made through textual proof, and obviously he has to be ma'soom and he is to be followed. And this following is without any if and buts. The Sunni concept of the Imama were discussed, and one of their concepts is through council, through Shura. And they usually quote 2 ayats of the Holy Quran for that matter. Our reply to that is that it is something which is permissible, but those are only permissible in things in which we don't have an explicit understanding, an explicit rules from Allah, an explicit wahi that tells us that how we should act in a certain way in that situation. And then we give the examples that the imamat and the khalifa is only selected by Allah, whether it's Prophet Adam alayhi salatu wassalam, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam, all of them are being made imams. How? Only by Allah's selection, not by the people's selection. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد